Connect. Capitalize. Go.
Welcome to the podcast for business. It's your host, Eugene Rowe. Hope you're having a wonderful day. Make sure you make your way to the website at homebiz.com. That's HOMBABIZ.com. And sign up, connect with us, and the free e-newsletter. We help you discover your number one asset and use it to live the life that you want. I've got a young lady on the phone now. She is professional, and she can do that really well. Miss Kenisha McIntosh, thanks for taking your time out on the podcast for business.
Hey, thank you so much for having me, Eugene. I'm really, really excited to be here. Hello, everyone. My name is Kenisha McIntosh. I'm your success strategist, and I am super, super duper excited to be on the podcast today.
Success strategist, that just rings. That makes me want to hear more about you. Do tell.
Yes, so I help people strategize their way to success. I literally take where they are, their starting point that is not cookie cutter, that is specific and individual to who they are and their situation, and I help them focus with their goals and aspirations in mind, but focus on a way to get them started on their roadmap to success. So we work together, we collaborate, I help them to bring in their skills that they may not necessarily have at the moment, but they're looking to obtain. I help them get those skills, learn how to work amongst themselves, learn how to collaborate with other people, help them grow communities, whatever their dreams and aspirations are. I help them succeed in their own right.
Keyword, you help them start where they are. How major is that, and how many people come to you and say, I got to do exactly what the guy on TV said?
Oh, my gosh. I mean, you wouldn't even believe it. Just being a certified life and business coach, I've experienced this with my clients, with people that I don't know personally, but people who I have, seen work with others. They all try to follow a system that doesn't necessarily work for who they are, right? So you have all these programs out there, people are pitching it and throwing it to them saying, hey, this is what you've got to do to succeed. This is how you win. And it's kind of like, no, that's a lie. That's not how that works. For example, person who's in a position, say a single mom, with 2 kids, doesn't necessarily have the time management skills, may not have the time to allocate to being an entrepreneur, whereas she can't do the same thing as a millennial just coming out of college, looking to get into the workplace. It's not the same 2 starting points. Right. And so my mission and my focus is creating the starting point based on where you are currently, not where you need to be in your head or where society tells you that you need to be, but where you are in the moment.
That's one thing that a lot of people don't realize. Like you said, single mom, and she's 30, 31, 32 years old, and she's comparing what she's able to do versus what someone with no responsibility coming out of college yesterday is can do.
Right.
She's going to feel down on herself, right?
Exactly. Oh, for sure. I mean, people think about failure and why they fail, and these are things that, contribute to failure or people not wanting to continue going, is because you're not going to be motivated comparing yourself to someone who has totally different circumstances than you do. It's fundamentally unfair to you to think that you can start in the same place as, even someone who's a seasoned professional has been doing what they do for 20, 30 years. You're not in the same position. It's not the same starting point. You've got to create your own path based on where you are in that moment. And I help people succeed via that route. I help them do that.
We're talking to success coach Kenisha McIntosh right here on the podcast for business. Use those social share icons. Share this with your family, friends, network, and you can also download it and share it as well. So, Coach Kenisha, you said that you help people start from where they are. Give us some examples, maybe some success stories of people who came to you and they said, I need to be just like the core example, but you had to really walk them back and say, let's start here.
Yeah. So, one of my favorite, or I wouldn't say favorite, but one of my my success stories has to be a client that I had who recently left a relationship. She was a single mom now, moved back home with her parents because, she needed that time and that space to do so. And, she aspired to be a blogger. That was her thing. She wanted to be a blogger. She wanted to pay for bills. She wanted to get back into school. She wanted to change her job. There were so many things on her list. And I said, okay, well, let's prioritize your goals. That's the first thing that I want to do. Is prioritize what your goals are, because you can do them all. You may not be able to do them all at the same time, and that's another thing that people get really confused about, is trying to multitask coming out the gate. When you're new, you kind of have to get a grasp on one thing so that you can get a grasp on all things. And so people, again, forget that they're human, and that trying to juggle so much, you're going to drop the ball on something, which, again, will frustrate you and make you not want to do anything at all. So prioritizing is always my first thing. Where do you see yourself first versus where do you see yourself last? Because in your mind, if you can get one thing done and you do it well, and then you can add on something else, it'll kind of propel you to want to continue to do so, because you can see the success happening. That motivates you, that keeps you inspired, that keeps you going. You don't want to drop the ball because you've handled these things so well. You're like, oh, I can do this. It's kind of self-motivating. And she was able to, learn and grow with me. We learned time management, how you can manage your time now, not being in a relationship, but being a single parent, or how you manage your time with family around, how you can get them involved to help you in the process. And that way we can start doing the things that you want to do as a single mompreneur.
We're talking to success coach Kenisha McIntosh right here on the podcast for business time management. You just went there, so I want to keep going in that direction. Single mom, no, kids, can't do it like a college student, doesn't need to. What are some of the main areas where, say, a single mom? Let's talk to the single moms right now, or even single dads. What are some of the areas that they can attack and be creative in to help them be more productive?
As a single parent, know that you are not alone. Use your village. This is one of the things that I implement. First of all, figure out who is in your village. That's most important, because if you can create a tribe of people who, one, are in the same situation that you are in, or two, are understanding of the situation that you are in, you can leverage yourself to have more time. So, for example, find these groups, find these meetups, find these Facebook groups that will allow you to collaborate with women and men of the same caliber who are like, okay, hey, all the kids come to my house for 2 hours on a Thursday. You have the kids 2 hours on a Friday. That'll give you 2 additional hours off of, away from your child to do something that you want to do for yourself. And that's just one way. And thinking in terms of priority level, prioritizing what is most important in your mind to you. So, for example, yourself should be at the top of the list, because if you're not well, you can't do anything. So prioritizing you, and then your child, and then everything else to fall into place. But figuring out what are the most important components. I call it, will of success. You have to figure out your priorities in your will of success. And once you kind of map out what portion of your time should be allocated to what your priorities are, don't waver on that. Family will come in and they will say, oh, I need you now. Where are they on your priority scale? And have you done everything else before that to get to them as a priority? And if you haven't, they don't move up to number one.
Whoa, okay, all right.
Yeah.
Now you just lit the fire. We're talking to success coach Kenisha McIntosh right here on the podcast of business. Use those social share buttons. Share this. Let everybody know to tune in at homeofbiz.com. Download and share. You said something that probably 90% of the people listening would automatically get upset at. Does this family member rank high on your priority list? Most people think every family member is supposed to be high on their priority list just because they're family.
Oh, yeah. Oh, and I mean, as humans, we'd like that to be true, but that isn't necessarily true when it comes to my success. If I were to put all of my family members' troubles at the top of my list of troubles, I wouldn't get anything done for myself. I mean, there's no possible way to do so. And so in being successful, there has to be some sacrifice. And that doesn't mean you love everyone less. That doesn't mean that you care for anyone less. That just means that you love and care for yourself and your success more. And it's okay to be selfish with who you are when you're going for those goals, because that's what you have to do. You have to have that gusto to say, I matter more and my dreams matter more. And this is what I have to do for myself. I can help you, but I'm going to help you in my time, on my terms, when I can. And that's just what it is.
So far we've talked about prioritizing your goals, using your village. What's one of the next things that we could do to help become and propel ourselves toward what we want to be?
One of my favorite things to instill in my clients is not reinventing the wheel. Don't reinvent the wheel. Just recreate it on your own. Recreate it on your own terms. There are tons of resources out there, and, as a coach who provides resources to all of my clients, I encourage everyone to read, research, and look all around, because social media and technology has leveraged knowledge for us. To research anything that you don't know, because chances are someone out there may have already created it for you, and you don't have to do all of the groundwork. Now, I will say this, that if there is something that you have not found out there yet, you need to create that, because that's your niche. That's where you prosper. But if you need something and it is out there, why recreate what you can just perfect? Don't reinvent the wheel. Just recreate it on your own terms. Make it your own thing. Make it look better. Make it, taste, whatever it is that you're doing. Just go from there.
As a guy who worked in radio from 1995 to 2003, of course, I saw a lot of different marketing campaigns, a lot of different advertising campaigns. And it wasn't too long before I realized, most of these companies are really the same or near the same. They just put a different brand and one small spin on it, and now they've got $1 million company or even a $100 company. I'll take that, But
exactly.
And so I think that advice is good. A lot of people, do you come into contact with a lot of people who want to start from scratch?
Right. And I mean, I do. I come in contact with tons of people who want to, work on the foundation. And I don't think that there is anything wrong with that. I think that you have to do a lot of foundational work to get yourself mentally, physically, spiritually, financially prepared for all that is to come. However, it wastes time. And so time is of the essence when it comes to business. And any business person knows that time is of the essence. So if I have, for example, a concept or an idea that I want to get off the ground, when someone is doing something very similar, I need to fill in where they aren't. I need to look at what they aren't doing and figure out how I can put my spin on that. I don't want to do the same thing that they are doing, because that doesn't make any sense. And not only is it going to not get me anywhere, it's going to make me look like I'm copying what they're doing. But if I can take what they aren't doing and put my very confident spin on it, that's it. That's all I need. I'm not competing. I'm collaborating with them, because we're doing the same thing for kind of the same purpose, but for different audiences maybe, or different people, or just in a different way that may, connect to a different audience. Who knows? But don't try to create the wheel if it is already there. Just reinvent it in your own way.
We're talking to success coach Kenisha McIntosh right here on the podcast for business. Tip number 1, prioritize your goals. Tip number 2, use your village. And tip number 3, don't reinvent the wheel. Now, Kenisha, you sound pretty young, so I'll ask you, how do you help, and I hope I'm not going astray here, but how do you help millennials who need to compete against an aging workforce?
See, and that's the thing, I am young. I'm fairly young. I started out in the workforce early for people who are millennials. I started working when I was 14, and I've been continuing since then. But what I've found is that I don't have to compete with them. I use them, not in a way that's negative, but I learn from them. I'm attracted to seasoned professionals because they've done all that I'm aspiring to do already. I'm just doing it differently. And so because I have technology, and because I have social media, and because I have the access to things that they may not have had, when they were my age. I'm able to connect with them on levels and say, hey, that's a great idea. How could I use technology and social media to do the same thing? Because that worked back then. I just need to do it a little differently. Again, not recreating the wheel, just reinventing it in my own way. So I don't see seasoned professionals as competition. More so, I see them as, okay, can I learn from you? When I start a new job, I want to learn from the person who's been in the longest, because clearly they're doing something right. They're doing something right. So utilize that knowledge. That's kind of like the matriarch or the patriarch in your family. You learn from those people. You don't see it as, oh, I got to take granddad's spot. Right. You see it as, what can I learn from him so that I can be my granddad? And they always tell you, I want you to be better than me. We're not able to be better than them if we don't learn from them. So you connect to those people. You collaborate with them. Use their brains. Pick their brains. Use them as thinking partners. Get them on board. Get them rallied behind supporting who you are in your visions for things, instead of thinking of them as competition, because that's not what it is.
Great advice for all ages, young and old, from Success Coach Kenisha McIntosh. Would you like to give the listeners a way to find out more information about you?
Yes, please connect with me on social media, Facebook and Instagram at The Resource Coach. My website is www.kenishamcintosh.com. That's www.kenishamcintosh.com. Follow me, connect with me, subscribe to my newsletter. I'd love to hear from everyone.
Success Coach Kenisha McIntosh, thanks for taking your time out here on the Podcast for Business.
Thank you.
Connect, capitalize, go.